The floor is yours.
Thanks, Alessandro. It's a true honor to be here and to moderate this panel with very distinguished speakers. And of course, AI in the government and public sector is already very important in terms of market size. According to some estimates, its value is already over 20 billions of euros worldwide, and it's estimated to reach 70 billions at the end of this decade. But the importance, in my opinion, of AI in the public sector is also, I mean, in another perspective, at least two perspectives that are very dear to me. The first one, of course, we are speaking of services that are very important for the life of billions of people, of citizens, and this is a very important, of course, aspect. And the second aspect is that as people, I mean, I'm an economist specialized in innovation, and public sector is a very important space for innovation. And the states and the governments that are successful in their innovation policies, I mean, they have successes if they exploit well the collaboration between public and private sectors. This is what history of innovation tells us. But say that, of course, I want to leave as much as a space to our speakers, and so I would call them here, starting from in the order of in the speaking order. So I would start from Marta Colonna, that is the Chief Legal Officer of භᴇΐ, please. And then we would have Anne-Laure Giré, the head of Google AI Cloud. Go to market, please. Go to market. Go to market EMEA South. And then we would have, in terms of speaking appearances, Michelangelo Quaglia, Chief Data Officer of භᴇΐ. And finally, to conclude our wonderful panel, Niccolò Zito, Vice President of IBM. And so I would start from Marta, as I said. And of course, this is the first curiosity. I mean, how did it mean to develop and implement AI in a company, of course, state-owned company, so a particular type of company, such as භᴇΐ, and what's the true value, the unique value of AI in your company, of course, thinking of public services, I mean, delivered to citizens.
Thank you, Stefano. So before coming here, I asked AI to generate an image for AI in the Italian public sector, and this was the result. Slide is not going.
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
No. The slide, okay.
Yeah, and this was the result. So, of course, as you can see, in Italy we have a very beautiful Renaissance building and artworks, but strangely, no women and no young people are working in the public administration. Of course, this is not the truth, this is not the reality, and භᴇΐ is a great example of this. So the question is how a young, modern, tech public Italian company, lots of oxymoron here, approached AI. I'll try to describe briefly our approach. So First of all, we built up a multidisciplinary team, cross-functional team, with members from tech and AI teams, privacy, compliance, and legal experts, data analysts, and other stakeholders. At փ, we really believe in the power of multidisciplinary teams that allows us to create products and services compliant by default and by design, and also allows us to contaminate competencies between our teams. So people learn by working next to the colleagues instead of just learning on online training. And this is a great value for us. So we build up this multidisciplinary team for AI. Then we drafted a first set of rules and internal procedure, in order to make clear to our employees what was allowed and how to use AI in a responsible way. Then at փ, we strongly believe on the power and talent of our employees. So instead of having an up-down approach, we opted for a bottom-up approach. So we started with interviews and questionnaires to our employees in order to collect their idea and understand from our employees what, in their view, the AI opportunities are. And we collected a lot of ideas and use cases. Then we selected 3 first very easy pilot, because we think that AI is a very complex and broad topic. So in order to stress test our first set of procedure and rules, and in order to start asking ourselves the right questions, we selected 3 very easy pilots in order to stress test our compliance processes. And then with that huge amount of use cases, we need, of course, to make priorities and classify them. So we started classify them based on 2 main criteria. The value generated for the company, so actually the benefit, and the technical and operational feasibility, so the cost for the company. And as you can see in the table behind me, all the use cases has been classified in that table, where we go from the easy win ones that are, high feasibility, high generated value, until the optional that is a low feasibility, low generated value. And based on that, we were able to create a 3-wave implementation path with a clear roadmap and a clear short, medium, and long-term strategy. Based on that, of course, this huge work has been presented to the top management of the company that approved the strategy, and then we allocated budget based and accordingly with the strategy, in order to avoid standalone initiatives that can be very expensive for the company, low impact for the company, and not completely in accordance with the long-term strategy of the company. So that's more or less what we have done. And we are, of course, still working on it, but this is a process that started some years ago. And so what we learned, what is the value for a company as փ, and more broadly for public administration and public sector of AI. We understood that there are 3 main lines. The first one is, of course, internal efficiency. So AI can help making our company and, in general, public administration more efficient by automating standard and repetitive processes and tasks, and also making our employees happier, because, of course, they can focus on more creative tasks instead of focusing on repetitive tasks. The second is, of course, improving our existing services and platforms, so making life easier for our citizens and for the public bodies that are using our platform. The third one is, of course, creating new services, new products, new things that were impossible without the AI. So what we discovered, and I close my brief speech on that, is that AI, of course, brings risks and has to be used responsibly. But AI in the public sector can be a powerful tool to make our public services more equal, more accessible, and to address the digital divide concerned. Unlike other public, normal private companies at § we cannot just target a cluster of users. We cannot leave behind anybody. We need to create services that are accessible for every kind of citizens. So digital divide is a very hot topic for us. And we discovered and we understood that AI is an extremely powerful tool to address the digital divide concern, making public services more accessible for our citizens. Of course, we cannot do this alone. We need to cooperate with public bodies and also with private companies and academia and university. And this is exactly what we are doing by partnering with private companies, academia and university in order to explore the potential of AI tools in the public sector. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Marta, for your insights. And now I turn to Anne-Laure Giré. From the standpoint of such a leading technology company such as Google, what are, in your view, the most promising technologies or solutions to bridge the gap between the public and private sectors? And of course, if you can tell us about best practices or successful use cases that you want to highlight on this occasion, please.
Sure. And I loved what I heard from Marta. I think the approach, especially what you said about the multidisciplinary approach, I think is so important. In a recent customer study, we found that AI and Gen AI specifically are more successful when there's comprehensive C-level sponsorship, that it's different C-levels getting together around the table, agreeing on what good looks like and working together. So I think that's a great approach. So super happy to be here. I think it's an amazing week for AI. I mean, as a Parisian, as a European, I mean, what happened earlier in the week, I think was a great example at the AI Action Summit, great example of how when the public and the private forces get together, so much enthusiasm can come out of it. Yeah, I felt so much excitement, and Station F, the startup incubator, was like fully booked. People were waiting outside. It seemed to me that outside of a sports event, I hadn't seen that many people actually get enthusiastic and behind a project. You also have the skeptics. Yeah, French people, like Italians, like to complain a lot as well, as we know, right? But I think this was like a pretty interesting thing. So back to your point, I would highlight probably 4 main themes or technological trends where we try to differentiate ourselves and have very concrete impact on the public and the private sector. So I guess the 4 key themes I'd like to highlight. So the first one is the ability for models to reason. We've had immense progress in the field. Obviously, the pace of innovation is amazing. And especially it bodes really well for the scientific sector. So that's the first one I'll talk about. Second one is how AI can enhance search experiences. And finding information, whether you work in an administration or you're a citizen, is very important. The third one is the ability for agents to take actions. So agentic workflows, it's probably the word of 2025. You'll reuse it in your dinners. And the fourth theme will be how multimodality can help more inclusion. So if I go back to these 4 themes, the first one I said, these models now really have an ability to reason that's pretty astounding. And at Google, it's one of the reasons why we've been an AI-first company for years, because we're really convinced that AI in the scientific world can bring amazing success. You might have heard about AlphaFold that received a Nobel Prize a few months ago. So I learned that proteins and protein folding is a key aspect, right? Trying to predict the future state of a protein is very key to fight diseases, fight antibiotic resistance, and I didn't know that, I'm not a biologist, but it takes years in a lab for PhD people to predict the structure of a protein. So 3 years ago, our DeepMind researchers built an AI-powered protein folding tool that is now used by millions of researchers around the globe. It was awarded by a Nobel Prize. And I think for the future of scientific progress, in health in particular, AI has a lot of potential. I'm very proud that, for example, Google has a partnership with the Institut Curie in Paris. My mother was treated there a few years ago. I'm very proud that there's a lot that can be done when AI can hopefully detect rare forms of cancers earlier. So I guess that's the first theme. Second thing, I mentioned search. Obviously, we love search at Google. It's kind of like our key mission when you think about it. It's organize the world's information and make it accessible to everyone. So search on the main engine, right, google.com, but we also provide technologies to enable people either to search information internally or on websites to power the search bar that enables people to use the services. So if I start with the internal use case, anyone tried 괉 Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
Right. My tip for you guys is to start your day, put in your LinkedIn profile to 괉 and ask it to generate a really flattering podcast. And you're going to feel really good about yourself for the day. That's my key tip. But more seriously, so 괉 it's a RAG system, right? Information retrieval. You can select a number of sources. It can be a doc, a YouTube video, all sorts of like PDFs, documents. And it's going to be your notebook where you can search for information. We now have an enterprise version of that with all the right security, and it's available now in Google Cloud. 괉 is really amazing. It's your personalized AI research assistant. Internally, we use it when we launch a new product. We create a notebook that's used by all the teams, and it's an FAQ source, right? And helps you learn. It helps you upskill yourself. So I think search has great potential for internal use cases. When you think about people in the administrations, like in public sector, there's so many documents to go through, so many policies that might change all the time. Having your personalized notebook would be a great asset for any public company, and we've seen a lot of interest already. And the external use case as well is so important. We worked with the gov.uk, for example, to enhance their search bar on their website, and they saw a 14% increase in click rates, and citizens are able to find information in an easier way. So even if on-site search has existed for quite a while, AI and GenAI have the power to enhance search interactions and to enable more natural conversational search experiences. So I talked about ability for models to reason. I talked about search. I'll mention agentic workflows, because AI is great to find answers, but the end goal is for AI to take actions, right? It's really what's going to, as you mentioned, is going to help us be more productive. The ability to book the meeting in our calendars, open a ticket because there's an IT problem, be able to automatically detect information from documents, and then write the RFP template that your people in your company will write. And we've launched a product called Agent Space that precisely aims to do that and be a one-stop shop for everyone, even with low coding abilities, to generate agents. And I think it's going to be a game changer in the public sector. Fourth theme is multimodality. So I guess multimodality is to express the fact that models, and particularly our Gemini models, have the ability to use all types of modalities, audio, video, as inputs and outputs. And it's key to enhance digital inclusion, as you were mentioning. We're very proud to be partnering with භᴇɪᴏ on this topic and try to see how multimodality and AI can increase the digital inclusion of the services. Maybe elderly people want to use the voice only and not really click on things or use their finger on a small smartphone. You can think of people with vision impairment or speech impairment, and really excited about this project. I'm very excited to be partnering with such an innovative actor that is භᴇɪᴏ, and that aims to lead the way and be a role model for all of the public sector.
Thanks, Anne-Laure. Now it's the turn of Michelangelo, and of course we know that data is probably the essential enabler of AI. And so from the standpoint of භᴇɪᴜ, as we know, a state-owned company, how can you balance the leveraging and the use of data, very important and crucial for the development of AI in a company, with, of course, the ethical use of data and the public trust that, of course, a company such as භᴇɪᴜ has to maintain?
It works. Okay, thank you. First of all, thanks for having me here today to the fair, to භᴇɪᴜ for this opportunity. Data is the backbone of AI services. I will come to the balance of use and ethical use in a moment, where we will have to see our use cases. But first, let me give you a little bit of my specialty, so data. For those of you that don't know භᴇɪᴜ, භᴇɪᴜ is a state-owned company that manages for digital public infrastructures that are becoming more and more critical in the Italian landscape, and not only. Some of them using the key the principal indicators we have. So භᴇɪᴜ is a platform for payments that citizens and enterprises can use to pay their taxes, bills, duties towards the public administration. Last year only, it managed more than 420 million transactions for a total value of over 93 billion. That is 4 percentage points of Italy's gross domestic product. So you can start feeling how critical it's becoming. Appio is our front end, is a mobile app that allows public administration to communicate directly with their citizens. And last year, more than 350 million messages were sent to citizens, reminding a deadline, reminding of a payments they had to do, or reminding of a service that was available to them. And since last November, Appio also hosts the first Italian version of the digital wallet, where you can upload your official documents. And in the last 2 months, more than 3.5 million citizens uploaded more than 6 million documents that span from the driving license to the health insurance card to the European disability card. So it's a platform that will evolve from there, encompassing a much larger set of services for citizens, and not only. And then the last two platforms, SEN, which is the platform for the delivery of legally binding notices. Last year was launched in 2023. Last year was the first full year of operation. More than 9 million notices were sent, either in digital or analogic, because the platform is inclusive, as Marta was mentioning before. And then the only government-to-government platform, the Digital National Data Platform for Interoperability, which allows public administration to exchange data between them in a secure and standardized way. So this is basically what we do, what's the volume we see yearly, and this is the data that we can actually use. How do we use it? Let me get to some AI use cases to delve a little bit into what we actually are trying to do with AI, starting according to the strategy that Marta was describing before, with the most, let's say, easy one. First, forecasting. Machine learning has improved tremendously the accuracy of forecasting models. We use it in ڀᴇɪᴜ in order to understand how the business is going, where to allocate our resources, and how to help public administration to foresee peaks or criticalities in their service delivery. And we are doing it now constantly, and accuracy is really the key aspect to be underlined here. On the right-hand side of the screen, the developer's chatbot, and Laura mentioned RAG models. Working in a very intense administrative and bureaucratic environment, we need to produce a lot of documentation. But if it's not useful, then it's just there as an obstacle towards your objective, right? So we've indexed all this documentation, the FIQ, the guidelines, the operative manuals that our platform need to have by law. And we developed this chatbot, which is a very basic, if you want, use of AI, but it's giving very promising results. And finally, probably the one that is more interesting to talk about, the central use case, the optical character recognition. I was talking before about SEND, this platform that manages the delivery of legally binding notification, both in digital and analogic, depending on how the citizens wants to be found, right? If it's in digital device, it mainly goes in an analogical way. So by law, these notifications, to be legally binding, need to comply with certain standards. And we need to, for example, check the date, the address on the physical mail, right? Our AI team has been developing a solution that integrates several models and allows to not only read this information automatically instead of having someone doing it. It not only saves a lot of time and, as Marta was mentioning, allows for time to be dedicated to more value-added actions, but it allows to actually, instead of controlling only a sample, to expand the control to the entire population of the notifications, thus improving greatly the service that we deliver to our citizens. All this, to answer to Stefano, how do we do it in order to comply with also ethical standards? Well, first we experiment with a privacy by design and security by design approach. So all our products are secure by definition as they are designed. And AI solutions are experimented only on pieces of the service we provide. Second, most important, humans are always in control. Whether it's going to be a forecasting model or the optical character recognition solution, humans always have the possibility to check what the algorithm has done. And finally, we do it using data, so we can monitor what we do, how we do it, if it's effective or not for the objective that we have. Just to carry brief, but in synthesis, I think that this use case is the implementation of the strategy Marta was explaining before, taught us that innovation is possible also in a bureaucratic environment. You need to have very clear what are the problems you want to solve instead of focusing on the technology. And then using technology to solve them, keeping human control not only as a nice-to-have item, but as a necessity, especially when delivering public services. So thank you.
Thanks to you, Michelangelo. Also for the very concrete data that you provided us. And now...
Can I say something before your question?
Yeah.
Just one comment, because came in my mind with the slide before you were showing before. So so we love Appio and փagopia. So, but I really need to make congratulations to this company, because you are able to be friendly and positive even if you are contacting citizens to ask money. So this is a
miracle. I mean,
a kind of miracle. So congratulations for that. I was realizing this.
A true miracle.
42 million of transactions. Most of that are taxes. But you are making a great job.
So, of course, IBM is another leading company, of course, technology company. And just to finish, how do you see the future of AI? And speaking of today, of course, we want to be also very concrete on what we are doing today. Do you see particular differences between the application of AI in the public and in private sectors? And how do you, and if you can share with us your reflections of on these 2 points,
okay,
please.
So I will try to articulate and address this answer, this double answer, in a more perspective way. The future of the AI beyond that is in the title of this panel, and then try to see what is happening today in the AI application in the public service, in the public sector. So about the future of AI. So I'm sure that if we take this room and we make a survey, we do not have time, but I can figure out the results, we will find a significant percentage of people that still believing that the AI future will be a future of a few big players. I don't know, how many of you are thinking of that or not, but there's still this thought of having a few big players, a lot of capital-intensive industry, because in US they say that you need almost $1 billion to properly train an AI a large language model. So few models in the future. Few companies, but from our perspective, on IBM perspective, we do not think that this will be the future of the AI. So, and we have some elements to say that will not be in this way. We are almost on the opposite side. So we are realizing now, and I will try to explain in few words why, that the AI will be democratized. So it means that as happened for many technologies like personal computing, the storage, so technologies that were very unreachable at the beginning, they are becoming more and more, and now they are part of our life. They are very accessible, they are well adopted, they are affordable. So, and this will happen for the AI, and we will realize and we will benefit of all the benefit of the AI as soon as they will be affordable, accessible, and adopted by everybody. So why are the elements? What are the elements? Why we are saying this? So for sure, one is clear and happened in the last days with DeepSeek. So DeepSeek, they produce a model of AI quite similar to our approach in IBM. With a limited amount of money, probably 6 million, or in the range of less than $10 million to train the model. They have an approach of small models, so small models for specific use cases, and with not a big generative AI tool that activate all the resources needed, but only specific resources to limited as much as possible the energy consumption. So this is a kind of approach that will be is an open source. It will be, and we will see a lot of other actors moving in this way, coming in this way. And then the other elements that is telling us that AI will be democratized in the incoming months is becoming from the use we have of the AI. So today, if I have a simplify in the interest of the time, we use the AI in 3 main typical ways. So one is the AI embedded in a software. Typical example is email processing. You are writing an email and you call the AI functionality to say, set me the tone, the style of these emails because I would like to be very polite, very aggressive, very candid, or whatever. And so this is, you can do this everybody, we can do, there's no differentiation in the use of this AI. The second part is in the company, you build your application and you call some AI services. You buy AI services from AI provider. In this case, you are starting differentiated. Everybody can do that if they put some money on the table, if they invest. But basically, there's a big warning because you are using some AI services and you are sharing some data, and so your AI provider is giving you services, but is benefiting, is using your data that can benefit from your data. So it's a second approach. The third one that is most comprehensive and the most smart one is moving from being an AI user, so a specific AI user of an AI provider, to be an AI creator. This is the key word. So what means? What means you use a platform when you have your own data on your machine, on your private cloud, in your data center, your data. As Qualia said before, they are the source of competitive advantage. You build your model, you select the learned language model that better fits for your use cases. You use Llama, you use Meta, Watsonix, Granite, whatever you prefer, whatever is fit for the purpose, and then you start using and building your AI model. This will be the difference, and this is the reason why we see the future as not one model, but multimodal. And with the, well, actually, the company will mix and combine all these kind of uses, and we will arrive. But so my attention and my message is be focused on the fact that it's not a matter of only to be a user, but also be a creator to shape the future of your company. This is few lines on how we see the future of the AI. Coming back to the public sector and the use cases we see today. So there are many things that already mentioned by the previous speakers. So basically, we see three main on the ongoing projects today. We see in IBM, we can categorize the current AI application in three blocks, three macro categories. So one is the easiest one are customer and citizen experience. I know that I'm telling you nothing new, so are all the chatbot, virtual, vocal bot, virtual assistant, virtual agent that help to accelerate, that help to make a better customer experience during the pre-sales, sales, and post-sales services of a private or public sector. So these are very so we have arrived on a level of shifting the traditional way to work to the AI bot quite significant. So we can move 70% of this workload and bring this workload to the AI with a lot of accuracy. So we have models that are close to 95% of accuracy of the outcome of the models. A lot of benefit. Second category. The second category is the automation. These are the next panel, no?
Yeah, no, this is the right one.
Don't distract my audience, please. No, I'm joking. So the second category is about the automation of the core process, the relevant process, relevant for the AI. Relevant for AI, it means that are core process for the business, but expensive, so very cost expensive. And so that's the reason why you put the AI in the payment. There's in the payment industry, the fraud detection, the fraud prevention are typical those core process that can be automated by the AI, or all the HR tasks. We are working a lot on this in this space of HR tasks like recruitment, like candidate selection, like performance management. And so you use, Marta already mentioned the legal and compliance space when you use all the generative and summarization and categorization functionality of the AI. So there's a lot of block, and then there's a third block. It's more IT-based. It is focused on the work that the developers are doing today. So we are having a lot of projects where we accelerate the work of developers in coding, refactoring, in coding in a faster way, or in coding from one language code to another language code. So these are the three blocks. Basically, we don't see any big difference between public and privates, with the exception of in public sector of a lot of attention on data treatment, data protection, the copyright violation, intellectual property, indemnification. All these matters are, are very relevant for the public sector, but basically they are acting the same. So there's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of experimentation, too much probably, because we say in IBM that prototype will kill the AI. So if we still keep prototyping on piloting and piloting, we'll never end on a production point. It's good that there are still some champions, some leaders like භᴇΐᴏ that are moving and progressing in the right direction with the right speed.
Thanks, Nico. And thanks to, all of you, also because, you for your discipline, because you were strict on the time. Of course, there were many things to say, but of course we have to maintain the time that we were allotted. And just, of course, I'm now the last obstacle for the lunch, so for your lunch. So I don't want to to be in this position for more than 1 minute. But I think, first of all, of course, this panel proved once again the importance of the collaboration between public and private sector, and we can fairly say that digital transformation can be successful only if there is this collaboration in place. And secondly, and it's something that resounded very well in your speeches, the point about inclusion, accessibility, and democratization at the end, because many times I'm very passionate about it, speaking and writing a lot about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is seen as a means of inequality. Exactly. This is, of course, a possible result. I don't want to say that we have to not consider this result, but I see many points, at least as many as the first possible result, even more. For the contrary, for the opposite to happen, and so thanks for raising these points. Of course, we need to manage well things in order, for these results to be in place. But I think we can manage it, so I think it was very interesting that all of you in different ways picked this point. And thanks to everyone, of course, for resisting until this time, and so I hope there would be other opportunities in the future to come back to this very pivotal topic. Thanks again.
Thank you.